Awakening. After 60, a new look at life. At 60, many people believe that life is slowing down. Retirement, grown-up children, a body showing signs of time. Everything seems to indicate a slower pace, almost as if the leading role has already been played and the rest is just backstage. But what if the real story begins right now? This stage of life brings a rare gift: the freedom to choose. No longer guided by external pressures, people over 60 can finally hear their own voice. And that voice, often muffled by decades of obligations and expectations, begins to speak louder. Who am I now? That question is deep and necessary. Because at 60, 70, 80 years old, the spirit doesn't age. The body may change, but consciousness, the soul, continues expanding. And that's precisely why so many people find new purpose at this stage. It's not uncommon to see people rediscovering passions, studying spiritual themes, engaging in causes, or reconnecting with ancient practices like meditation, prayer, or mindful walking. Maturity brings a clarity that youth doesn't, the awareness of finite time. But instead of being something sad, it can become a powerful source of motivation. When you understand that each day is precious, the value of presence increases. Eating breakfast slowly, looking out the window at the trees moving, hearing a grandchild laugh, remembering an old love, everything gains a deeper layer of meaning. Awakening after 60 isn't a feel-good fantasy. It's a possible reality. But it requires a conscious choice: to exit autopilot and take the wheel of your own spiritual, emotional, and physical journey. That choice begins with a mindset shift. What was once seen as loss of youth, strength, relevance, can become gain of wisdom, freedom, presence. Life doesn't end at 60. In many cases, it truly begins. It begins when you look inward, not at social standards. It begins when you recognize the body as a temple and the mind as a tool. It begins when you realize the time left is enough, if lived truthfully. And that truth begins now. More than ever, it's time to break away from negative narratives about aging. Culture insists on portraying old age as a time of limitations. But what if it's the opposite? What if this is the time to reap everything you've sown? To see more clearly who you really are without the noise of the world around you? Some say that at 60 you become invisible, but maybe at 60 it's the first time you see yourself clearly. The rush is gone, the masks fall, the need to please fades. What remains is the essential, your most authentic self. And in that reunion with yourself, possibilities bloom. Traveling without the pressure to document it, reading slowly, talking deeply, loving lightly, and laughing, because mature laughter doesn't need approval, only truth. This awakening demands nothing but presence, being, feeling, choosing. And when you choose to live with intention, even simple days become memorable, because every gesture, every word, every breath takes on purpose. So yes, life at 60 can be a new beginning, a lighter, freer, more personal start. Part 2. Spirituality and purpose, nourishing the mature soul. When the body begins to slow down, the soul asks for space. Many people say that upon reaching their senior years, they start to feel a restlessness that isn't physical. It's spiritual. A need for connection, for deeper understanding of life, for something beyond routine, material things, or logic. Spirituality after 60 doesn't need to be tied to religion. It can show up in small gestures: the silence of morning, watching a sunset, a solitary prayer, a heartfelt hug. What matters is that it's alive. This is the time when many ask, "Why am I here?" The answer, of course, isn't one size fits all. But simply asking the question already opens a powerful door to transformation. A study by Harvard University showed that older adults with active spiritual practices, through religious faith, meditation, or participation in communities report higher well-being, fewer symptoms of depression, and even longer life expectancy. Spirituality is literally medicine for the soul and body. But it's not enough to believe in something. You have to live it, embody it, create rituals, not complicated, but consistent. Start the day with gratitude. End it with reflection. Breathe deeply before reacting. Forgive faster. Forgive yourself too. At this stage in life, forgiveness is one of the most powerful forms of spiritual healing. Holding on to grudges weighs you down. The body feels it. The heart feels it. Letting go is like removing a backpack full of stones. The search for purpose also becomes more urgent and more real. It's no longer about status, money, or recognition. Purpose now might mean caring for a grandchild, teaching something you know, helping a neighbor, or tending a garden. Purpose doesn't need to be grand, it needs to be felt. What nourishes the mature soul is exactly that. Finding meaning in small things, the value of presence, the beauty of now, and that is learned or remembered with maturity. Spirituality. At this point in life is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's what grounds you, gives you direction, and lights up cloudy days. And when you live with purpose, even pain makes sense. Even loss becomes learning. Even silence speaks volumes. Having an active spiritual practice also helps build community, and that matters. Isolation is one of the greatest enemies of old age, but spirituality, lived in groups, creates bonds. It creates belonging. It builds support networks that go beyond the surface. That's why it's worth seeking out groups, gatherings, spaces where experiences and faith can be shared. To listen and be heard. To laugh and cry together. Because spirituality is also affection. And the more you nourish this part of your being, the more your life aligns. Problems still exist, but they stop being mazes and become pathways. And purposeful paths have a different flavor. Total health. Caring for the body as an act of love and awareness. Reaching 60 in good health is a privilege, but also a result. A result of choices, habits, care, and especially how you see your own body. Many people, as they age, begin treating their bodies like enemies, complaining about pain, slowness, loss of strength. But that mindset creates distance. It creates conflict, and the body feels it. Health after 60 must be treated with kindness, not fear, with presence, not rush. The body is the instrument of the soul, and the better cared for it is, the freer the spirit becomes. Caring for your health isn't just about taking medication or doing tests. It's about listening to the body, feeling where it needs attention, eating with awareness, not guilt, moving every day, even gently, walking, stretching, breathing. At this stage, food can be a powerful ally. Eat less processed, more natural. Drink more water. Chew slowly. Not to follow a diet, but to honor what enters your body. Sleep also changes and needs attention. Create a rest routine. Sleeping well is healing from the inside out, and movement doesn't need to be exhausting. A walk in the sun, light exercise, a dance class, adapted yoga. The point is to keep the body alive, active, awake. But perhaps the most important part of complete health is listening. Pause. Close your eyes. Feel. What is the body saying? Where? Does it hurt? Where is it pulsing? What needs care now? This kind of listening builds connection, and this connection turns health into an act of love, not obligation. Love for yourself. Love for the time you have. Love for what you still want to live. Because in the end, health is not just the absence of disease, it's the presence of life. And living fully after 60 is possible. It's real. It's urgent. Just choose to care, with awareness, with purpose, with soul. Health is also built with what you consume emotionally. News, conversations, thoughts. Cultivating inner peace is a way to care for your nervous system, your heart, your immunity. Science proves it. Emotions like gratitude, compassion, and joy reduce inflammation, balance hormones, and increase longevity. In other words, well-being begins in the mind and heart. So let it be said again, caring for the body is caring for life, and every life deserves to be lived with dignity, pleasure, and vitality. And if you've come this far, know this: there's still more to come. In the next video, we'll talk about how silence can be your greatest ally in wisdom after 60, and how to use it to transform your everyday life. Get ready to uncover a power you may have never fully explored.